when I went to Starbucks the other day, I was like, I needed some coffee, and I was like, I can make my own coffee at home. I like at Starbucks if I'm out and about because I need coffee or something, but I needed a cup. I needed something to mix the henna in. So first, I have the hot water that I'm gonna pour into the cup. And I'm using this envelope to mix everything on. And now I'm gonna put oil in with my henna, and I'm gonna add henna, and I'm gonna add a tiny bit of indigo. Okay, I think, yeah, a little bit. I don't want to add too much because I don't think it needs a lot. I think it's good to control it. And a lot of people like a really super muddy henna, but I'll be honest with you, I don't really buy. Oh, I don't want henna to get in my coffee that I'm drinking. Oh, my coffee's over there. That's the only thing about henna. It is a powder. And you know those Lush mixes that people do with henna? And then you have to boil them down? I just think it's a ripoff. Because you can actually put your own oil. Like, I do a henna oil mix. Like, a lot of people don't like to put oil in their henna. I don't know why people don't like to do that, by the way. But I honestly prefer it. So I definitely do more of a runny henna. Well, it's going to take a while to put this together, but yeah, and I'll have to keep mixing it. And I don't always wear gloves when I apply it either. I'm going to mix a little bit at a time. And it's kind of like making a cake, but yeah, I do like it runny. I know some people don't. Maybe I should have went to the Dollar Tree and bought one of those nozzles for applying it. I thought about that. I'm not sure how late I want to apply this. Maybe I will put it on tonight. I hate messy stuff though. I hate messes. This is my thing. I love henna, but I don't like a mess. But it is really an oxymoron because henna's like the messy. It is messy, friends. It is. You want to talk about messy? Henna's it. But I hadn't done henna in like a cup in a while. But the thing I do like about that is I feel like it kind of gives you more control. I think you'd have to stick your fingers in farther in to get it. It really gets clumpy quick. Like, I know people don't like running henna, but this clumps up really fast, okay? It definitely does. It takes a lot of work. I'm going to let mine sit until it comes together. I might put this on in the morning. I don't know. And then I'm going to pour in the oil, okay? Boop, boop, boop. We use all of this yummy canola oil. And then I'm going to put some water in the bottom. My thingy-majig. Get out the excess. I'm going to make it a little bit more watery. This is not a Starbucks drink, friends. This is a henna mixture. Okay? No, can you see me? I feel like you can see me. I love how cute my braids do look. Thank you, Carter. I appreciate that. They are really cute, aren't they? And this is from an updo that I did yesterday. I'm telling you, braids all the way every day. So some people were acting like I've heard some people say that people shouldn't wear space buns unless they're from like a certain group, but like it didn't even make any sense. Like, I guess there's some talk about how space buns are like supposed to only be worn by indigenous Mexican women, which, by the way, there were indigenous Mexican women that wore space buns, but did you know, like, the space bun actually, like, a form of it was from Hopi culture. It wasn't even originally from, like, Mexican culture. And Mexican culture is like a mix of European and indigenous, but I bathe all the time. Everybody bathes. Like, that's kind of a weird question. But if you want to know, like, I've been looking into, like, did the Middle Eastern people have have a version of space buns. And yeah, they do. Like, sort of. Not exactly, but they do like a low bun, and they might not have done two of them, but chignon, like a braided bun, was very popular. Like Queen Zenobia, who's a Syrian queen, wore buns in her hair. And actually, the culture that like has had like a version of the space bun. Let me take that out. Anyway, so the culture that's had like the version of the space bun the longest, like the longest culture, would be actually Chinese culture. Thank you. I love them. I post long hair all the time, so I'm not even sure what that means. Like, what are you trying to say, friend? Not really sure. Maybe I need a longer spoon. I'm afraid my fingers are gonna get in the henna dip. This comes with, and henna comes from the Middle East, by the way. Like, it's actually indigenous to the Middle East. Tattoos come from Tahitian culture. I just think it's interesting. Like, there are different things that come from different parts of the world, but I think if you look at modern times, like, there's a lot of things that come from somewhere else. And you should learn the history behind those things and respect them. And space buns are cool and fun. I love them. I love space buns. And I think there's a big difference between space buns and like a traditional style that people wore, like the Hopi people or the Chinese women. But you know what's interesting? Like, and I don't usually get into these discussions because I think some people are all about like, is it cultural appropriation or is it cultural appreciation? Now, there are certain things I personally won't do with my hair. Like, I personally will not like put my hair in cornrows. But then I talk to some people who, because I feel like that isn't for me, like that's not part of my culture. But then I've talked to some people who are African, like they're part African, and they're like they don't have any problem with anybody wearing their hair in braids. So at the end of the day, like, I just think if like you have a certain hairstyle, and yes, one person may have worn it a long time ago, if you're not pretending to be that person or like pretending to be from that group of people, why would you care who like wears space buns in their hair? I don't really understand. I think that's just taking things too far, honestly. Like people who are like, oh, you cannot wear space buns because one group of people wore space buns. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, who made up these rules? Because if you look at the farthest back in Chinese history, like, which outdates all the other versions of the double bun, I would say the Chinese people did it first. So I don't know. And I don't really get into those discussions. I feel like a lot of it is a play in hegemony. Like, it's like some people, I don't know. I think, like, I'm not a fan of the Trumpy Wumpy side. I think they're a little off the rails, just my opinion. I do. But I can't help but think, like, some of these discussions people are having right now, that's fueling the fire of people who think that's great. You know? I don't know. Like, I feel like we're just in a weird place in society. Like, space buns are cute. They're fun. And this is what my channel is about and my life is about. And if I want to wear space buns in my hair, it's actually my hair. It's not somebody else's hair, right? And I feel like it's kind of actually, when you start making a woman who has long hair feel like her hair isn't good or appropriate in some way, like you're actually kind of bullying her. Or you're bullying a man. Like, I feel like, yeah, there are certain styles that I personally won't wear. Just me personally. But, like, I don't know. I know what styles are fine for me to wear. And I feel like you should trust somebody to know which hairstyles work for them and works well for somebody. And I just think, in general, it's probably a better practice that we don't tell people what kind of hairstyles that they should do. You know, I don't know. That's just always been my own thought about things. Like, you should focus on your own plate, life, and lane. And we have a lack of that, I think. Or just people hating on long hair. Like, I think at the end of the day, what I've noticed is it's really popular to, like, because it's a long hairstyle, right? I think it's just really popular to want to pick on somebody and make them feel bad because they have longer hair and they're doing something with their hair. And some people just don't like longer hair for some reason. And that's kind of what I see that as. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to all that. Everybody has a different opinion on all this stuff. And their opinion doesn't have to be mine, you know? I don't really understand, like, why we live in this world where I feel like it's good to be mindful, but now it just seems like some things are becoming downright mean. Like, there are certain things I just personally don't feel like doing, but space buns are not hurting anybody. And I think it's fine to wear your hair in space buns. And if you're going to get mad at anybody, are you going to say nobody should wear their hair in space buns because Chinese people did it first? I don't know. Plus, they had a form of space buns or buns in the Middle East. Like, who owns a bun? Who owns a braid? Like, there are certain styles I personally just won't do with my hair. Like, I personally don't feel comfortable doing certain types of styles that are, like, indigenous to African people. However, I'm part Middle Eastern. And there are braided styles. Like, somebody was sharing, like, on Reddit some images from a book of certain braided styles that were very popular throughout the Middle East for several millennia. So who is to say that in the history of the world, when people have interacted with each other, that people haven't done certain hairstyles? The only thing I would say is you should do hairstyles that are protective for your hair. And why I think certain types of braids wouldn't be good for somebody who doesn't have more like 4-3 type hair would be because it wouldn't be good for the integrity of their hair, because those styles are conducive to like curly hair and coily hair. But I do think if you have wavy and straight hair, people have had problems doing those styles because it's just not conducive to that hair type to do those type of braids, especially since some people put extensions into them and it causes traction alopecia, like if you have straight to wavy hair. Whereas if you have coily hair, your hair is more suited for those styles. And yeah, but space buns, I mean, if you look at the type of buns that women wore in the military, like a donut bun, that's like a variation of the space bun. Are you going to tell people in the military that they can't wear a donut bun? Because it kind of looks like a whirl too. So I just feel like, where do these discussions end? Like, where people are like, you can wear this hairstyle, but not that one. I don't know. I think it's good to be mindful, but I do think we're going too far. Like, when people start, because I saw this girl on Reddit. Like, she did a Reddit post, like, should I wear space buns? And she thought that she was going to offend somebody. And, like, why? And I know, like, there's some guy on TikTok who said, oh, well, you know, it was, like, a style that some women wore during the Mexican Revolution, but it's not even from Mexican culture. It's from Hopi culture. Like, if you look at the original style that they kind of were, like, inspired by. But if you go even farther back in history, it's actually, like, the double buns, like, thousands of years back, started in Chinese culture. But then if you look at Middle Eastern cultures, they had braiding hairstyles, like I was talking about, that were very similar to styles that I would say, like, African people were doing. Not exactly, but very similar. Because I just think there's more intersection, more like sharing of cultures than people realize. And then I've talked to people who are actually who have African like ethnicity that are part Nigerian, and they have no problem with people of any ethnicity who show respect to the culture getting their hair braided. So I don't know where all this is coming from. I feel like we just live in a time where you do need to be careful. Like you shouldn't be offensive to someone, but I just think maybe we've gone too far if people are like, oh, space buns are offensive. And I don't usually talk about, like, I do talk about some political stuff on here, but I'm kind of sick of politics, to be honest with you, because I think modern politics is just, it's just not a healthy place to be. It really isn't. Like, for me anyway. I know a lot of people love that kind of stuff, but I just don't think there's any health benefit in the modern political space, personally. I don't find any. But, you know, if you think that wearing space buns is very offensive, I mean, maybe you need to ask Chinese people 8,000 years ago who originated that hairstyle if you should wear it or not. And like I said, I think there's certain hairstyles that might, like, I would say certain types of box braids. Yeah, I probably personally wouldn't wear those with having just wavy hair. I wouldn't wear them. I wouldn't wear those styles. That's not for me because I don't think that's for my hair type. But there are people that are African that have no problem with it. So I don't know where all these, like, people are having so many heated discussions over like who can wear what hairstyle. Well, if the hair is on somebody else's head, I think you also start going into the category of maybe you're bullying somebody with long hair if you're telling them what they can do with their own body. And this is a big discussion right now. Like, I don't want to tell people what they can do with their body, okay? I know that some people, I don't know when we got to be in this world. I'm like, sometimes, can I be teleported back to 1985? Because I sometimes think the world was more open-minded back in 1985. I don't know what is going on with our world right now. It's like everybody wants to tell everybody how they should live, what they should do. Bullying seems to be like promoted. People don't have a soft edge. Thank you. This is actually a sweater my friend gave me. So, hey, Colette, what do you think about women being told that they can't wear space buns because it was originally worn by some people during the Mexican Revolution, but the style originated in actually with the Hopi, which that's kind of where they got the idea, like for the Star Wars hairstyle, space buns. But I started looking into it more today, and it started in China. But in the Middle East, they had a version of space buns, sort of like lower one bun. I just don't understand what's going on. Like, what's your take on all the people fighting over the hairstyles? Because I know you said you didn't care if people wore braids. I personally don't know if that's good for my hair type, but like mini braids, multiple braids. But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with all the people fighting over everything lately and where all these restrictions are coming from. I'm not into it because I think a lot of it at the end of the day is you want to bully somebody. That's what I think. Like, if you say that somebody shouldn't wear their hair a certain way, if they're not hurting somebody, then I do think it is a form of bullying in a way. When you tell a person, oh, interesting. Okay, that's good to know. But what do you think about space buns? Since I guess there's a debate about that. Have you heard about that one? Like, I don't think space buns are offensive, but apparently it's getting, I don't know. It's interesting. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think if somebody's told, um, that they can't wear a certain style of braid, I don't know. If they're not hurting somebody and they're just braiding their hair that way, which is a protective style, is it bad? Yeah, well, with religious clothing, I don't think people should be wearing that if they're not part of the religion. That's kind of weird, right? Like, if somebody's not part of a religion, that's kind of weird. But like the space bun thing, okay. So because I followed the arc of it, because I'm like, I have to get down, because I saw some things on Reddit, and I have to get down to like where is that coming from, and where do space buns originate? Like the style of bun, like doing double buns, and it seems to have originated originally in China. But I mean, China has the longest recorded history, really. Maybe other groups did it, and they seem to have done like a version of buns in the Middle East. Like, I am too. I'm gonna keep doing them, and that's the whole point. I was saying, like, if you're offended by somebody wearing space buns, maybe you should go ask permission from women in 8,000 years ago, 8,000 BC China. You know, if you're gonna be offended by somebody wearing a space bun, like I don't know. And it didn't really make any sense. And then like the people they were saying, well, but it's like it's a symbol of like the Mexican Revolution, but a lot of the like people that were in the Mexican Revolution were actually white. They were Spaniards. There are some Mexicans that are like half, like half indigenous, half white, but a lot of them were Spaniards, like northern Mexico. Like a lot of the heroes of the Mexican Revolution, they're Spaniards. Like they look very Spanish and very European and white, and they took it from a Hopi style. So I don't understand. Like everybody's so upset. Yeah, that's what I heard. Like there's actually a book that talks about like different styles from the Middle East, and these styles look very similar to like braided styles, or I guess you could also say locks. The African people did too. So I just feel like there was a lot. I think people are overblowing this. Like I just don't. I don't like getting into all this. Like I hate that everything's political nowadays. That you can't even just like in the long hair community, space buns have just been fun. But I think this is what I think at the end of the day. I think that this is another excuse to bully women that have long hair, because remember how I did the videos years ago when I talked about it wasn't men that bullied other women, or even other men that had long hair. It would usually be women, because there used to be this thought, well, especially, I don't know about other countries, but in, like, I would say even like 20 years ago, there was this thought that if a woman's hair was too long to put in a ponytail, it was time to get her hair cut. Like there's a lot of women that think you have to have like really short hair to be stylish and to be accepted and to look good. Like it's very passe. But then, like I was saying, henna's from the Middle East originally. Like it originated and a lot of people get henna tattoos. So I guess you better not get henna tattoos if you're offended by that, or tattoos itself, you know. Yeah, I agree. Like I think it's cool not to cut your hair, but I don't know. I think this is what all of this is really about. I think there's just a lot of people like it's okay to dye your hair like multiple colors. It's okay to get tattoos. Like that's cool, but for some reason like people don't look like the word tattoo comes from Tahitian. Like a lot of the modern tattoos that are really popular are from Polynesian culture, guys. Like and you guys are upset about somebody wearing space buns. Really. Haircuts were forced by the military, and yeah, I'm not surprised. Sounds about right. They also forced them on very extreme diets and forced them to march and do all sorts of things. Kill each other to death for entertainment. Romans were kind of brutal. And they were very, like, Queen Zenobia, Middle Eastern queen. Like, Syrian one to be exact. Like, she was a threat to them. So they enslaved her, Oh, it's not a drink. It's henna. I'm just making henna. It's a joke because I'm like, I'm not gonna. It kind of looks like a drink. It looks like it could be. It's henna. I'm gonna keep mixing it. I think it needs to sit for a few hours. I'm not sure I'm gonna put it on tonight because henna's messy. So yeah, this whole cultural, because I usually stay out of that whole cultural appropriation debate, because I'm like, ugh, I don't really like being part of it. Like, I've just, because I've kind of like, as time has gone by, I really just want to do my own thing. And a lot of things that people are pushing nowadays, or like debates that they're pushing. Yeah, I love henna. Like, when I put it on my hair, it just feels like very strong. But like I said, don't mix it with conditioner, like, because that's when I had a mishap. But yeah, I just, ugh. I could even put some on my hair right now. I'm not afraid. I'm gonna be sorry tomorrow, but that's okay. Some people are like, what happened to your hands? I have henna all over them. It's fun, but it'll be okay. I'll just have hands that look a little orange, and I like it. I love the orange look. It's very fun. And then I need to take this nail polish out. This is really annoying me, because I put on nail polish for the first time in 2 years, and it's just slowly become chipped. That's why I put on the glitter nail polish, because it's very forgiving. But yeah. So anyway, everybody's gonna get so mad about this whole hairstyle thing. At the end of the day, I think it's just about I think it's about not liking people with long hair. I think it's about wanting people to conform. But space buns have been wildly popular, and they're really popular like in long hair community. And I always got a lot of compliments from lots of people who loved them, who thought they were really cute. And I don't know, I guess some people, see, yeah, they were popular in the 90s. There were a lot of Lebanese people who did them, Syrian people. Like, well, your mom's Nigerian, but I'm just saying, like, worldwide, people have done space buns. Oh, before she, well, she could wear a headscarf, right, and still have her hair like that and just not show it. That's the cool thing about it. Like, you can still cover your hair and wear that style. And actually, I think like if you were wearing a headscarf, it would make it easier, because then your hair is contained. I think that's why I really love that style, because I know a lot of women that actually wear hijab say it's hard to like think of styles that are easy to do. And I find it just like an easy style, like that won't get in your way. Um But anyway, like, you can see my hair right here, Riley. Like, are you here, Riley? I have done lots of videos where I show how to braid hair. Like, I have a video that's a short called the space bun loop. Cuz I don't know, this has been looping through my mind. So, like, space buns, like, so I guess at the end of the day, I'm going to just say it. Are space buns cultural appropriation? I don't think so. I really don't, because it's a style that originated like 8,000 years ago in China. So if you're very offended by it, even though Hopi women originally did it, and women in the Mexican Revolution may have adopted the style, but they took the style from Hopi women, like that particular style, right? Yeah, no, it's not. This whole cultural appropriation thing, like, it's gone too far. But like you said, Khaled, like, if somebody's like copying religious attire, I do think that's wrong. Like, and that's just weird. Like, that's just strange. Like, um, why would anybody do that? But if it's just like space buns, or I don't know, like a woman wears her hair in several braids, like, I don't think these things are hurting other people. But I do think if it's the hair on somebody else's head and it's their body, and you're that offended by like a hairstyle, like, a lot of the time it's not healthy. A lot of the time it can go into bullying, and I don't know, I just don't like it. And I think it's kind of sad that a young woman is worried that she has to ask Reddit if space buns are appropriate. Why should she have to do that? Because some people are offended. So other things like dyeing your hair, like that originated with henna, which originated in the Middle East. Maybe you need to ask people in the Middle East if you're allowed to dye your hair. Yeah. Now you're gonna have to ask me permission to dye your hair because we own henna, us Middle Eastern people. And if you want to dye your hair and the whole concept started with henna, you're gonna have to ask us. And I'm the arbiter of that. Doesn't that sound crazy? Doesn't that sound crazy? Thank you. I do love these glasses. They're from, I think these ones from Glasses USA. That was the first time I ordered glasses online. And then later I got like sort of sponsored videos where I got a technically free pair of glasses, but I ended up ordering some pairs from, I did Abby, and then I did Firmo glasses. I was offered another one where they wanted to send me a pair of glasses, but I didn't do it again just because I have several pairs of glasses. I actually have one pair that I haven't worn since the Panini in 2020, and they're really cute that I ordered similar to these. I like these red ones better. But I broke a pair the other day because I've been so good for years. I haven't broke a pair of glasses for like 20 years, and I sat on a pair of my glasses and I just wanted to cry. But the good news is I have another pair, and those were the ones from Firmo. So I have like 4 pairs I got from Firmo, and I have a pair I bought from, well, no, they were technically free because I think I had to pay for shipping. But another thing I've been lately that I'm not doing anymore is they've wanted to send me things from these different companies, and I haven't accepted anything lately because all of it just seems weird. It just seems like, unless you're like such a bit, well, and I've heard some YouTubers never did it, okay? Some YouTubers have never done it. But I've just noticed like there's some really good ones. Like I've had some good ones that the dress-in one was really good, and some others like the nightgown one was really good. But just other things, like they were saying that I had to go on Amazon and buy the product myself, and they were going to reimburse me if I did like a video about it, and that just seemed like a lot of work. And I know there's a lot of people that do that, like their whole social media platform is about ordering things and getting reimbursed and making a video about it, but I don't really have a strong passion for that. And yeah, I've just been a busy bee lately. Like I I don't have time to do that. It's just a lot of money, of your own money, because your time is your money, really. And I just got to the point I want to make hair content just based on what I like. And I just don't think those videos are worth it. When did I first do space buns? Like the first time ever, I think was in 2019, because I used to wear my hair in braids. That just double braids a lot. But then somebody told me in 2019 that it would look really cute if I did them in space buns. So I think like the first time, I mean, I think I did it when I was younger one time, kind of like your mom, maybe in the late 90s. I might have done it, but my hair wasn't like I might have. Like but I don't think they looked as good as they did now. And I'm kind of similar to you that I didn't really do them like I started really doing them in 2019. Like that first time that I did a video where I pretended to be Minnie Mouse because I love that red dress and I love Disney. And I think that was the first time because I was like the space buns kind of look like the mini ears I have. And I don't know, something about it at that time just really took off. And then I'd get a lot of requests to do space buns. Like people wanted me to do them. Like, so I started doing them more and I started really getting into it. And then recently, like when I was going to jury duty, because I was on a jury for a month, it was such an interesting case. I haven't really talked about it though, just because we did the right thing, but I don't know. I don't feel super comfortable talking about it. Like it's over now, but I just don't feel super comfortable talking about it for some reason. Because yeah, it's in public record, but I feel like it would give out too much personal identifying information about myself that I don't really want to publicize. Like, Oh, that's cool. So I do like a different kind of space bun, I think, than most people. Like I do the braided one because I think it's really popular just to do kind of like the donut one or like just the kind of wound one. And then I still feel like in the long hair community, I'm totally different than everybody else. Like a lot of people, because a lot of people, they love to do these kind of buns where they just wrap their hair around their hand and they use the hair for and they put it up. But I still just don't feel like those hairstyles are super practical. And I also believe, like, this is just my opinion about those particular hairstyles, I think they're very much suited to women that have like super straight hair. There are women with curly hair that do it, but I think like a lot of those styles are more suited for women that have straight hair because I feel like if you have wavy hair, you know it's going to get tangled. So I feel like putting it in a braid first and then putting it in a bun just looks better. Plus, I braided my hair yesterday and I put them like in a crown braid with clips. And I was outside in our severe Southern California wind, you know, that's yeah, I get the tension like be a that can be a problem. The only reason that I do like to put my hair up though more because I feel like when it's getting longer, I notice like if I'm moving around a lot and I'm just not at home. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think we do like from what you said have a similar hair type. I love wavy hair, but curly hair is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It really is. But I think your hair is more coily, right? Yours is more like the okay, so what do you think about that hair chart? Like where they do 1A, 1B, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like a lot of people have been saying recently that that's not accurate. Who is it that started it? I think Carolyn Massey. Okay, so yeah, I would say the hair chart works, right? For like kind of helping you figure out like your hair type. Some people are saying recently that they don't agree with it. I don't know. But I think it's a good roadmap. I just don't think I would do everything that Carolyn Massey said because she said that she wouldn't use certain kinds of shampoos. And I personally have found that I like certain shampoos. Like, this is a big debate though. A lot of people really don't like sulfates. I personally sometimes yeah, it changes over time. This is true. My mom's hair actually is looking more curly, I think, which is interesting. Because I always thought my mom had straight hair. She really doesn't. Mm. Another thing about my mom is that when I look at her ancestry, I think this is very interesting. Her ancestry report, like on GED Match, that she has like 2% Asian. I think that's very interesting, and it's somewhere like in Central Asia. That part is really interesting because I'd always thought it was so interesting that when I took my ancestry test back in 2016, they have updated the test since then. Like it had less than 1% Asian. I'm like, what is that? And it would show up and show up, and then it went away. And then, okay, she also has like, which I've known for a while, Ashkenazi Jewish, which shows up, but I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what her dad was because they all had jet black hair. Okay, so everybody thinks like, oh, like I have dark hair. Yeah, no, you have beautiful hair. But I've been trying to just figure out what my grandpa's ethnicity was because we kind of wish he could have taken an ancestry test because I know he was a Native American. And that was actually what made me take the ancestry DNA test back in the day because I was like, I want to tell everybody I don't think we're Native American. Like I knew it like deep down. Like I did not believe that we had indigenous roots. But I got a lot of pushback from that from my mom's like my mom still doesn't believe it, and even my little sisters, like they didn't agree with me. They're like, no, like grandpa said he was Native American. I said, I don't think he was. Like I don't know what he was exactly. Like he had some roots. But all I know is that he was let's see when he passed away. Like he was 83, but he had jet black hair. His hair was darker than mine, okay? Barely any gray. And same with his older sister. And also too, like, I wonder, like, I don't know what they were, but I feel like they had some maybe Asian, and I know for sure Ashkenazi, but I actually think that's for my mom's side, not my, because when I did the tree, it was interesting, and they weren't practicing, by the way, but I just thought that was interesting. Like, she's pretty much just white, but she gets that 2% Asian on that test, and I'm just like, that is so interesting, but I don't think that's a mistake. It just, because it keeps coming up, like, on my test, and then it shows up on her test, and I'm like, I don't know. It's very interesting, but it's definitely way back in time, so. But it kind of makes me wonder, like, maybe they were just English people with jet black hair. Some people have really dark hair in Europe, but it was weird. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's Polish, that's the thing, but, like, I'm saying that's from my mom's side, so it's not from her dad's side. They're white. So, I don't know, but I just think they had really, really dark hair. It's interesting, though. I guess some Europeans have really, really dark hair, but I always thought that was interesting. They definitely weren't Native American, though. They kept trying to say that, oh, well, the Native American might show up differently, and I'm like, no, they're not. They're not Native American. So, I don't know. Yeah, isn't that interesting too? Like, a lot of people that are Ashkenazi, they're taking the DNA test now, and they don't have any Middle Eastern ancestry. The Sephardic Jews do have, like, Middle Eastern ancestry, but Ashkenazis don't. That's very interesting. Like, I find that interesting. I think it's just because people converted, you know, but they converted and they didn't have a tie to the Middle East, so I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Like, I was just trying to figure out what her dad might have been. So I don't really know. I think he was just English, maybe, with really dark hair. Maybe they had some Asian ancestry way back when. GED match seems to point to that, and I keep getting like a little tiny percentage, and I'm like, it's way back in time though. It really is. But yeah, a lot of people used to say they were Native American. They weren't. It's very, like, popular. My dad's half. My dad's a half Syrian. I just am very, I'm a little bit darker than some Syrians, though, because some of them have green eyes and blonde hair. But like I said, all of my grandparents had really dark hair. So, except for one had red hair. I don't know. So I think that's why I have dark hair, but my sisters, they look very English. They look very, like, English people. My dad, he looks Syrian. Like, he looks very Syrian. He definitely does. His sisters, they do too. So, like, when I did my ancestry update recently, English. So I'm very English. Like, when I say I'm English, I mean that I'm a lot English. Like, my ancestry DNA result, it's interesting. Okay, so recently they did an update. It's like 44% England, 29% the Levant. So, like, the way you inherit parts from your different grandparents, like mine, like, technically, I don't know, it says like 29% on all the different tests, even though it's supposed to be 25, but I don't know, it just, like, I look a little bit more like that than they do, like my sisters, and they get like 23. I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, well, I think even like in Lebanon, if you look at Lebanon, I think there were a lot of Italians that lived in Lebanon, you know, for years. Like, there's a lot of websites that talk about how there's been, you know, because of trade, and Europeans did definitely invade, like, for thousands of years, and the other way around, and a lot of Italians have Middle Eastern ancestry. So at the end of the day, why is everybody fighting over the hairdos? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. Why is everybody fighting over hairstyles? I don't get it. Can anybody explain it? Like, why is it that one's... I better not drink that. I almost drank the henna. Yeah, it is very European in a way. Like, you have a good point. I mean, a lot of people say that Levantine people are very similar to like Greeks, and they actually, Greek people have Levantine ancestry too. A lot of them, like 40%. The fight is either rage bait or because of racist hair laws. Yeah, it might be. I just don't understand what's going on, but I think I'm gonna let these things go. Because I don't like people fighting with each other. Like, I really hate that side of TikTok. Like, I had to get, like, I don't even have time to look at TikTok really lately. And when I did, there was always somebody that was angry on it, that was like telling me how they had to tell their neighbors that they hated their neighbor because of this and that and the other thing, and oh, this person is bad and that person is bad. And I'm like, what is this? Like, literally, I cannot get off that side of TikTok. And my sister's like, yeah, I just see the shopping stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just on this really angry side of TikTok where, like, there's a lot of people saying somebody, like, did something bad today and they hate their neighbor because their neighbor might have voted this way, and they asked their neighbor. Yeah, because recently I looked at it again today, and I kid you not, there was this woman on TikTok. She was like, yeah, I asked my neighbor if he voted for Trump, and he said he did. And I'm not even a fan of Trump. Like, I don't care. I don't think he's the best, but I'm not crying, and I'm not going to throw a fit that he won the presidency. But she basically told her neighbor that he deserved to be cut off by his son because of how he voted. But I'm like, why are you having this discussion with your neighbor? Like, what is going on with people? It's just, I don't get it. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, can I just go back to 1985? Because I feel like in 1985 people were more accepting of each other. It seemed like we were becoming more of an open society where everybody was accepted, and like, you had cool music and Michael Jackson, and you had Prince, and you had Culture Club, and all the music I love, and people were just more fun. They were more fun. We like, when I was a kid, everybody was just friends with each other. It wasn't like, well, you can't sit with us because you're not part of that group. And I don't know. And it was just a good time in life. And I hate to say it today, it's just like everybody wants to fight with each other, and they want to, or if people didn't agree on something, like, they would just go to lunch and have a debate about it. Like, or in the 90s too, like, even when I was in college, like, people used to like go to this one Middle Eastern restaurant that was really good. I think the early 2000s were good too. I don't know when things started to change. Like, was it already getting like this before 2020, or did the panini just like kind of make it worse because people were at home? Yeah, so we get some fun ones around here. Because, like, why would you be sitting on, like, somebody just told me that they had a defecation. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, if that had happened, then you would go take a bath. I don't even want to hear about it. Like, really? Yeah, it might have been the beginning of it. I guess I wasn't in the loop. I didn't know, like, people were fighting with each other like that. I was just kind of doing my own thing, and then I just noticed one day, like, it's just not fun to be online anymore. Well, you can be online, but I don't know. I kind of am like, I kind of stopped posting on Instagram just because my account is like, I don't know what's going on with it. It just seems like it gets worse and worse, and I lose more, like, subscribers, and then I get more spam on there. So I just stopped posting on Instagram, really. Plus, there were all these guys that were writing me saying that I had to love them or something, or like saying that I needed to have a relationship with them, which I'm not on Instagram to be your scam. Like, it's a scam, honestly. Like, I think they're just like trying to get me to send them money or something. And I'm not gullible, okay? And then on TikTok, I don't even think like kids under 16 should be on social media. I know that sounds really extreme, but I'm just concerned because I think there's a lot of gross people on the internet, and I know some people like they have big accounts because they show their kids, and there are some people that do it in like um a tasteful way, but some people have very questionable content with younger people. And then what's even worse, what I've seen on YouTube is, I know you're supposed to be over 13, right? Yeah, 16 is fine. That's perfect. But like, I know the law is okay with social media. You're supposed to be over 13 before you're posting stuff. But there are YouTube channels that have like younger kids that are posting things. And I find that very concerning that their parents are not monitoring what they're posting. Like, and it's kind of questionable. And I don't, yeah, I'm like, oh, I think it's a gray area just because the internet's so big, but I'm like, I feel like that's very concerning if you have like 8-year-olds dancing to like certain songs that I personally, I wouldn't even dance like that to certain songs, and they're dancing like that. Like, and this is being posted, and sometimes YouTube catches it, right, and they're like, oh, like that's a child's account, so they disable the comments. But other times like the comments are really bad, and I'm like, mm-mm. Like if that was my 8-year-old child, no way. I wanted to have them on there. And I'm thinking, I don't want to sound like a wet blanket, but I do think there probably needs to be some kind of legislation in place that like, and you would think with all the AI and technology that they could catch these things that would somehow detect that stuff. Well, isn't a lot of rap like very vulgar? You know, I'm kind of getting to the point in my life where I'm like, I just don't like that stuff at all. I don't want to see it. I don't want to expose myself to it. I don't watch certain kinds of movies because, you know, I don't like that. I'd rather have a more wholesome life. So you're protecting them, and I think maybe the law is going to have to protect people who can't monitor their kids on social media. Like, I really don't think 8-year-olds should be posting certain stuff on social media. It's not entirely legal, and yeah, they lie and they use a parent account to get on there and post that stuff. But I feel like if YouTube had a better moderation system, that stuff would get caught and would be flagged. Because, yeah, and sometimes it's at school and you can see the background, and I think it's very problematic. Like, okay, if they're 16 and above, I don't care. um, yeah, it probably will be ID'd soon. I mean, you know, some of the naughty sites that I've heard are ID'd, and people are mad about that. But I'm like, yeah, they have reasons that they do that. But um, I think maybe YouTube needs to be too, because I don't know, or TikTok even, and because I don't think minors need to be posting that stuff. And even if you're an adult and you're trying to make money off your kids, I do question. Um, well, that sounds like a good law, actually. Of course, the libertarians would hate that law because, you know, libertarians are like liberty for everybody. Like, I don't want like anybody to tread on me, but I'm like, it's only when it comes to things that you care about. Because there's plenty of laws that libertarians right now are super excited to pass, and I'm like, some of this stuff is really weird and not libertarian at all. But oh, it doesn't affect you. So I don't know. And then we're getting into politics again. American politics is a garbage pail. It's not good. It really isn't. But everybody thinks it's great. It's lovely. I want to go back to 1985 because I'm tired of it. I'm just like, you know what, you guys, you go ask your neighbors who they voted for, and you hold a grudge against them, and you frown at them when you take out the trash, and you just get mad at the world because they didn't vote some obscure way that you wanted them to vote. I don't really care. I'm so over this. I'm over all this stuff. And I guess the only, like for me, that's why I love hair care, because it's such good escapism and it's so much fun to just do hair care. And I love long hair, and I love focusing on self-care and healthy things, like things that make you a better person. I think that's the way to go, personally. There's still some henna. I'm not going to put it all in. I think I'm just going to put that much in. And definitely most of the indigo is still in here, so yeah. Clumpy. Clumpy. Oh, I probably need to mix it more. Although, some people do it really thick. It's on there so thick. I think people are cooking at home in America now because nobody can afford groceries. It's crazy, especially like if you live in California. Because now, like, it's become kind of like an oxymoron. Like 20 years ago, like it used to be that people would be like, oh, like the health conscious people would be like, people shouldn't go to fast food because it's so unhealthy. And then people used to be like, but that's all we can afford, to like the dollar menu. That used to be the biggest thing. Like, and we even talked about it recently, like I don't really like fast food at all, but the only one I actually kind of like is Del Taco, because you can get, I'm plant-based, right? I'm not a perfect vegan, by the way. I know some people probably think that I am, but I ate some cookies the other day. I think they had egg whites. I just personally don't like egg that much, or dairy. It's just not my jam, but I don't care what other people eat. Um, well, that's fun if you gotta do that. Like, if you get free food, I would totally do it. But a lot of people just aren't eating out anymore just because you used to have, like, the affordable meals. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy stuff. But now, like, I think they sort of have, um, they have like a quasi dollar menu, but it's not that cheap, and it used to be better. Like, it just used to be more affordable. But I think like one of the alternatives are, I've noticed like people that do like to do like fast food. In my state anyway, I noticed some people go to this place called AMPM, and they have other ones like 7-Eleven, and it's not super cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than the fast food places. Like, they actually are smart. They're doing really smart marketing where you can get like a coffee and a donut for $4, which isn't bad, like compared to McDonald's, which is almost 20 nowadays just for that same thing. Or you can get like a sandwich and a drink for, so I think most people are probably cooking more at home or just going to the supermarket and getting something at lunch. But I think if people do want convenience things, I'm seeing more people like go to like Circle K and places like that, and just because they actually are very smart right now, because they have some pre-made things, and it's kind of like fast food really, but it's a lot cheaper, and I see people doing that. Yeah, that's crazy. 17 USD. You're right though, and even here in California, um, it can be like 20. Like, I remember somebody was saying it was a good deal because it was only $20. What? Yeah, Aldi has some good deals. I like Aldi. I haven't been in a while, but they have some good deals. We have Trader Joe, which is kind of like Aldi here in the we do have an Aldi nearby, but I've tended to go to Trader Joe's more just because it's a little bit closer to where I live. And it's sort of like the American version of Aldi, but they don't have as much variety. They have more just like certain things. And you know what, I really actually, I'm not going to buy a Costco membership, but sometimes I go to Costco and I really like their pre-made hummus, and I sometimes will get like, you can get like a big package. They have these babigo. It's like a Vietnamese spring roll that you can put in the air fryer, and those are pretty good. And you can get cheap lettuce, but we had to throw away the carrots yesterday because my mom didn't want to buy them. Okay, I remember we went on Friday night because they wanted to go to Costco. They were down here, and my mom told my dad, you should not buy these carrots. My dad is silly when he goes to Costco, but you know, he's right about everything. You can't tell him he's wrong because he wants to run through Costco. My mom's like, I don't think you should buy those carrots. I heard that they had been recalled. And she goes, what? What? Yeah, everything's downsizing because, you know, it's profit is what it is. It's just profit. Like, some of it is because of some choices our current administration has made has impacted shipping and things, but I hate to say it, some of it is profit, they can make more money. But it's a combination of things. It really is. And it's sad because I just don't think anybody. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But like she was panicking that I throw the carrots away. So I just didn't want her to panic. So I don't know. Because there were some people, I guess. Um, oh, carrots. Well, okay. I guess what it was, there were some people that said they got some sort of an outbreak from the carrots recently. So I don't know. And she was like panicking about these carrots. I think they would have been fine. I probably should have kept them, but I don't know. She was like, oh my gosh. Like she texted me at 4 in the afternoon and I'm like, oh my God, you better throw those carrots away. Like I heard that there was an outbreak. So I was just like, okay. I didn't want to, but I did just because I don't want her. Yeah, my dad, like, he has to go running through the store, okay? And I don't like to take him to Costco because, oh my God, he's like, no, like, okay, so we went with my sister and my mom. My sister was driving and she wanted to get gas at Costco because it's a little bit cheaper. Oh, wow, 30 cents cheaper. Um, Yeah, I probably should have. I should have just done that. That's what I thought too. Plus, I have an ironclad stomach, and my dad does. I bet you he's gonna eat the carrots. He'll probably eat them in the night. Like we don't ever get sick, like from things like that. Like I think I got sick off spinach one time, but oh, what I had a tummy ache and I was fine the next day. But and it was just like a couple of cases where people got sick. Like, I don't know, but she just was like, "Oh no, the carrots." But yeah, he loves to run through Costco. Like he has to run in, but he didn't know how to scan his card, so I had to show him. He's like, "Oh, that's how that works." He's like, "We have to run here and run there," and he's like running through the whole store in like 15 minutes. I don't know how you run through Costco in 15 minutes, but give him a medal because he can do it. And then we had to sit at the entrance for like a half an hour as he complained about how long it took my sister and my mom to want to look at Costco. And I'm like, why can't we take our time looking at Costco? It's just like everything is a rush. Like we have to run through the store. I don't know. But he loves to do that, like everywhere that he goes. But you know where actually, um, another place like we have recently that we like because I found them too, and they have really good produce. Is Grocery Outlet. They have one up in the mountains. I can't wait to see what their mountain one looks like because I guess I decided to go do gobble gobble, even though like I wasn't going to, but at the last minute they're like, oh, they don't want me to be alone on Thanksgiving. So I guess I'm gonna go see my parents and then later I'll do something with my sister when she gets off work. But I want to see what their grocery outlet looks like because I really love. Well, I'm glad that you take your time. I think you would with your mom, but oh no, my dad, you have to get out of there quick. Like, and my mom will do it. She'll do anything he wants. But it was the same with my grandpa too. It's whatever he wanted. Oh my gosh, we have to cater to that. But I don't know. I kind of find it amusing. Like I'm like I don't even know where you get the stamina to do that. All of a sudden when it comes to shopping, you're like, you have to do it this way. And I just let him know. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, does that make you feel better? We have to go in this order. Like sometimes, like we would go to Target. I don't like Target anymore. I really don't. But he had to go in a certain order, and we had to do it every time. But if it makes him happy, no, it's good. Like my dad loves to go fast too. I get it. You have a list, you want to do it. I'm kind of at the point where I just want to get stuff delivered. Like I'm sort of getting to that point, but then I hate paying to have things delivered, so I stopped doing it. But for a while, I was like, I don't even want to go to the stores. Like I refuse to go in the store. I just don't. I don't want to go in there. And then one time, a few years back, I was at Walmart, and there were like these people playing ball in the aisle. Okay. And they were bouncing the ball, and the ball bounces off your head, and they were just like playing bouncy ball in the aisle. And I'm like, oh, no, no. Like, yeah, I kind of want to go back to just doing that, but then I feel guilty about the delivery fees. Like, we still have like delivery around here. It's actually pretty good. Like, you have more options now. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be lazy. I should go. Not that I'm lazy, but I'm just like, I don't feel like I should spend that extra money to have it delivered. Um, I mean, it can be huge, but I know, like, for us anyway, and this is what I do if I do order things, I tip them. And we also have like a delivery weight fee, I think. Like, they charge you extra for the heavy things. So, yeah, yeah, that's another good point, though, that it's good not to do it too often because it does make you feel kind of like, yeah, that's one thing it's about going in Walmart. Like, people are bouncing balls sometimes, or just like, like some of those aisles I do not want to go in because they're like really super crowded and everybody's like fighting. Yeah, you feel like you have to tip though, because if you don't tip, like for Instacart, people get mad. And then you have a rating and they have a rating. Like, you rate them and they rate you, and the same with Uber. Like, and everything really. Like, anything where you use an app in our country, if you don't tip them, you feel like, oh no, like somebody could rate you low, so you feel like I don't want that to impact my score. So it's kind of, you feel like you have to, but I'll tell you where I don't tip. Like, if I'm just getting, like, if I go to certain like places and I'm just ordering something and they don't do anything, I don't tip in that situation because that's silly. Today I'm not. I'm just wearing these leggings. Like, I do wear skirts most of the time, but I'm wearing my cute leggings. And I usually just mostly wear skirts, dresses, because that's my favorite. But these are like warmer leggings because I refused to turn on my heater, and it was like, how cold was it? I live on the ground floor, so it was like, you're gonna laugh because I know it gets so cold in other places. But if I think it was like 30 degrees outside and it wasn't much warmer in here. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm wearing really warm things because most of the time I don't like to wear sweaters all the time. And I usually get so hot like in the kitchen, but it's cold outside, I'll tell you that. It's been colder. I just am not turning on my heater because that's another thing. Like, it gets so expensive, like, to turn on the heater here, and I'm just trying to save money. But anyway, I think the henna is a pretty good mixture. I like the consistency. It's very runny, for surely. I'm not sure I'm going to put it on tonight. I feel like it's too late. But yeah, you're right, like, to be conservative with it. Like, I feel like it's just good to be good with your resources because I don't know, I don't want to waste a lot of money. But I have to say, I do like the way that this hairstyle looks even a day and a half later. Like, I had it up in a crown braid with clips, and then I took it down, and I've been wearing it like this today. And that's the great thing about braids, is that your hair just stays like in place. And I've kind of been using these little clippies on the side just to kind of hold my hair back, just because, I don't know, it doesn't fall on my face. Like, if it's windy, because it's been so windy lately. And I don't know why it gets so windy, but California. It's the Santa Ana winds. I do know why. I'm just like, sometimes I tell the wind to stop blowing. I'm like, oh, don't blow me. But I think I'm the only person who doesn't like the feeling of wind in their hair. Like, I feel like every other person loves the sensation of their hair in the wind, and I really hate that. Like, I've never loved it. Like, ugh, just like, ugh, I hate it so much. Your sisters seem like really nice people, and so does your mom. I think you guys have you love it. Like, everybody loves it. I'm telling you, everybody loves it. Like, everybody loves the wind, but have you seen some of my videos on how windy it gets here? Like, it's so windy that it's like blowing you in the direction that you need to go. And then other times, like, there's palm tree branches like falling off trees, and there's trees snapping. Okay. I've always been very lucky, and a tree has never snapped and fallen in front of me, but that's how aggressive the wind gets through here. So, so it's pretty windy there too. Sounds fun. I'm just not a fan of wind though, because I'm just like, ah. But, that's why I think I kind of like updos a little bit more, just because it keeps my hair from, oh gosh, you're brave. Like, I try to run from them. I just run. I don't want them to hit me because I'm like, I'm just afraid like one day I'm gonna be near a big tree if it's like almost coming down. So I'm always like kind of watching Like, oh, I better keep an eye out on the sky, like when it's really windy. Oh, by the way, interesting today, there was this jet stream in the sky. It looked like it came out of a cloud. Literally, okay? I got a video of it and it was so interesting. I'm like, that's so weird. It just was like, it was such an interesting, like, visual, thing to see. Like, it's like this just against the sky. It was very, because the sky was so blue, and this jet stream was just so, the white steam coming out of it. It was such a stark contrast. It was just like, whoa. And then it looked like it was coming out of the cloud, just because I think maybe it's raining in the mountains. But oh, I hate that. I hate falling. I really hate that. I hate falling. I don't want to fall ever again. Like, I fell one time just because I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't even icy outside. And I should have been paying attention. Okay. See, then everybody needs, maybe the gym bag company needs to sponsor you, because you can be like, this gym bag broke my fall. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And I highly recommend braids, and just do your hair how you like. People who say you shouldn't do your hair a certain way, I think they're bullies. What do you think? Bye.